I generated over $500,000 in revenue for my digital agency using an offer that I created using the exact framework that I'm going to show you today. We're going to go through market selection, service selection, pricing, and packaging, and I will show you all the pitfalls that you have to avoid that caused me to spend over a year developing this framework. So let's jump straight into it. And of course, the most important part of an offer is the market that you are targeting with that specific offer. That is why it is the bottom part of this pyramid, and that is why you should spend the most time of any of these elements on actually perfecting the market or the niche that you are targeting with your offer. There are a couple of different requirements that I have for niches that I want to work with. I will go through all of them, but first of all, it is, as I said, very important for you to understand that the market is the most important part of your offer, and that is why you should not be watching any of these guru videos with like 100 best niches or the 15 best niches to target in 2025, because that is a guaranteed way to enter a market that is highly competitive, because a ton of other SMA owners just like you will watch that video and begin reaching out to those businesses. So you are making your life more difficult by entering a competitive market for no reason. So I will not provide you with any specific niches, but I will give you the requirements that you should gauge a potential niche by. And the first one is, of course, the ability to pay. Are they able to pay you? That is the most fundamental part of a good market. If your market doesn't have money, then there is no point in targeting it. You have low paying niches, you have medium paying niches, and you have high paying niches. A couple examples of low paying niches are artists, personal trainers, and freelancers. You should avoid these at any cost. These are not worth targeting because they just don't have the money to pay you. So you won't make a big agency out of targeting these. Then you have medium paying niches, which are dropshippers, DIY home services, and low ticket local businesses and other similar ones. And again, why would you target medium paying niches when you have high paying niches? You're just making your job more difficult by targeting a niche that is less than perfect. So again, I would just avoid these. There's no point in selecting them. And then you have high paying niches. These are the daddies of the niches. These are the niches that will allow you to scale to 50K a month and beyond. And that is, first of all, high AOV e-com like supplements or health, anything related to luxury and office. Then you have high ticket B2C services like house washing, roofing, and remodeling. And you have multi-location businesses like clinics, fitness, or cleaning, because these are basically guaranteed to have a fairly high marketing spend because they have a lot of locations that need new clients. So something like this is the type of niche that you should be targeting. If it turns out that the niche that you're thinking of doesn't actually have the money to pay you, just restart the process. Don't go to the next step before you have found a niche that actually has the ability to pay. So if you are able to answer, yes, they have the ability to pay me 7K and above a month. Next one is little or no regulation. You don't want to be in a market that is highly regulated, that often gets their ad accounts banned because of specific Facebook regulations. You just don't want to deal with. It's not worth it when you have niches that don't have those issues. So examples of bad niches due to high regulation is pharmaceuticals, insurance, and alcohol. Avoid these at any cost. And you have automotive, sales, and cosmetics. They are a bit better, but again, like, why would you target a more difficult niche than you need to? And then the easy ones are digital products, entertainment, and local services, and similar. So again, make sure that your niche has little or no regulation. Trust me, you don't want to deal with constant ad account issues and all of that bullshit. If it is a highly regulated niche, go back to the drawing board and start from scratch and go through this process again. So this is a step-by-step checklist that you should be able to go through and answer yes to every single question. So again, if you're able to answer yes, the next requirement is that they are a medium to large size niche. You don't want to be targeting tiny niches because you just won't have enough potential prospects to scale your agency. So an example of a tiny niche could be luxury pet services. There are very few businesses that offer luxury pet services and very few buyers for luxury pet services anywhere in the world. So that is a bad niche, even if they have little regulation and even if they have the ability to pay you a high retainer. A medium size niche could be high-end home improvement, and a large size niche is online education. Both of these are fine. Choose any one of them. The bigger the niche, usually the more competition, but you also have more potential clients. So there is a trade-off for both. So just select one of them, don't overthink it. And it is perfect if your niche doesn't get spammed by 50 SMMA kids trying to reach them every single day. If you choose something like super common, like dental practices or like roofing services, you will be competing against thousands and thousands of other agencies. But this can easily be solved by actually having a good service. So don't overthink this one. If you have a niche that you are passionate about that actually checks all these boxes, this one you can ignore. But again, ideally, if that doesn't happen, once you have decided which niche you want to target, write that down, and that is going to be the bottom of our pyramid. And the next part is the service that we are actually going to be offering to this market. If you already have a service, then this part of the video is not relevant. I'm going to throw up a timestamp, so just jump over this section to the next one, which is the actual pricing. But if not, listen up, this is super important. Again, a couple of different requirements for the service that you are selecting. I'm not going to give you any examples because I want you to think for yourself and I want you to come to your own conclusions. I'm just going to give you the requirements that you should gauge your service by. And the first one, and the most important one, is if your service has direct attribution. And what I mean by that is that you are able to very accurately gauge what kind of impact you are having on the business that you are working with. You have no direct attribution services, you have some direct attribution services, and you have easy direct attribution services. So services with no direct attribution is, for example, customer experience or PR. For example, having them shown in newspapers, because there is no way that you can actually track if your service is delivering value to the customer and increasing their revenue. And if you are selling a service that has no direct attribution, it would be super hard to actually sell the service because people usually don't value them as highly as they do something that has direct attribution. And you will be able to charge much lower retainers because people, as I said, just don't value them and won't be able to pay you as much for that service. So don't even consider no direct attribution services. Then you have the one in the middle with some direct attribution, that is, for example, SEO and copywriting, where you could see some immediate significant improvement by fixing up their copywriting or SEO. But again, it's not a direct thing. You can change up the copywriting, they will get more clicks, maybe they will get more conversions, but that doesn't necessarily mean that only your copywriting was the thing that influenced that change. There could be other parts involved, and you won't again be able to exactly pinpoint that you were the one who created that revenue, but it has at least some attribution. So these ones are okay, you could consider them, but I always recommend going for easy direct attribution services like paid ads, CRO, or email marketing, because if you run paid ads, you can set up tracking and you will be able to see exactly how much revenue you generated for that client through your paid ads. It is much easier to sell because, as I said, it has direct attribution. The business owner can see exactly what kind of revenue they are getting by working with you, and you can charge much higher retainers, and you can charge performance because you are able to actually prove how much revenue you generated. I'll get back to the pricing models later. If you have found a service that has either some direct attribution or easy direct attribution, the next part is to determine if it is incremental or not. And what I mean by incremental is that it actually has a big impact on the business. For example, a non-incremental service could be brand search ads. So people searching for that specific brand on Google and clicking on the ad and buying something. That is not incremental because people are already searching for that brand. They already know who they are, and you don't actually need the brand search ads to convert that person. They would buy eventually anyway. So you're not actually generating any new revenue for the business, and that's why they are not incremental. A little incremental service could, for example, be SMS marketing, because you are potentially generating new sales that they would not have gotten. But to send SMS marketing, you need their phone numbers. So they already have collected their phone numbers in some way, and the person already knows about the business. So it's not a cold prospect. You are just doing retargeting towards the existing database. And again, you're not generating entirely new clients, but you are making the database convert more effectively. And a very incremental service could, for example, be meta ads, because you are targeting completely cold audiences who don't know who your product is, introducing completely new people to the funnel, which is highly valuable to the businesses that you are working with. So always keep in mind the incrementality of your service when selecting what you are going to be delivering. And again, If it's not incremental, go back to the drawing board and start over again. It is important that you get every single one of these aspects right, because if you build your business on a flawed base, you are not going to succeed. So make sure that this is on point before you move over to the next requirement, which is the difficulty to deliver. And this one is a bit unexpected. People always expect me to say that the easiest service to deliver is the best one, but I actually look at it the opposite way. The more difficult it is to deliver, the better, because there will be less people actually competing with you and you will be able to charge higher prices. So a service that I would consider way too easy is, for example, social media management. So even if it is direct attribution, which is not, and even if it is incremental, which it's not, I would still not do social media management because it is way too easy. Anyone can go into an Instagram profile and begin posting. You don't need any specific knowledge and you won't be able to charge high retainers for that. A medium difficulty service could, for example, be Google Ads. It requires some specialized knowledge, but again, it's not the most difficult ad platform ever. So you won't be able to charge as much for Google Ads as you will for example, performance-based meta ads. This is one of the most difficult platforms and services to get right because there are so many moving parts involved and you need such a deep fundamental understanding of marketing aspects. But if you get it right, you will be paid handsomely by potential clients. And also an important thing to note to end off this section is that you should select only one. Don't go into the trap of having 5 different services when you are starting out. Select only one of them. So only do performance-based meta ads, or only do Google Ads, or only do copywriting, but don't do anything else, because you want to be the best in the world at what you do, and you can't be the best in the world at 3 things at once. So as I said, select one of the services and let's add that to our pyramid. So now we have decided what market we are going to be targeting and what services we are going to be offering to that market. The next is the pricing. How much are we actually going to charge for our service? Let's start by talking about the amount. You have low prices, you have medium prices, and you have high prices. Low prices, I consider anything below 1.5K a month. Medium prices is anywhere between 3 and 5K a month. And high prices is anything 7K a month and up. So low prices, always a no-go. Never charge less than 1.5K a month. You won't build any kind of sustainable business based on that, because you need high prices to make a successful agency. With higher prices, you will be able to deliver a better service. You will have better clients who ask less of you. You will have more to reinvest in your business. You will take more in profit, which will make you, the co-founder, happier. And that's the entire point of building a marketing agency, to take home as much as possible. So never even consider charging low prices for your service. Medium prices you could do later on with a done for you and a do-it-yourself offer, but always start out charging the highest possible prices, because of all the reasons that I just described. It will be the most sustainable way to build a business. And by high prices, I don't mean that you should be overcharging customers. You should still have a huge value to price discrepancy. This is from Alex Hormozi's $100 million offers book. Basically, the value that you should provide should outweigh the price by a factor of 10x. So if you are charging 7K a month, you should earn that business at least 70K a month in profit. So they will be happy to pay you that 7K because you are generating them so much profit. So don't take high prices for overcharging. You should still undercharge by a lot for the value that you are providing. You just have to increase the value of your service. Next is the model that you will be charging by. You have retainers and you have performance models. Each of them has its own benefits and drawbacks. Let me start with retainers. They are predictable and they are close to the money. And what I mean by close to the money is that the loop from you signing a client to the money hitting your bank account is very short. You sign a client, you send the payment link, they pay, the money hits your bank account pretty immediately, which is amazing for growing your business, because then you can immediately reinvest it. You will never have issues with liquidity, but it is difficult to sell because the client trusts that you will deliver a good service, and even if your service is shit, they still have to pay you. So it is a much more difficult sell than performance. So performance has Two positives, two negatives. The first one is that it has a higher average invoice and that it is easier to sell. In the beginning, it is a lot easier to charge higher average invoices using performance because people don't have an issue with paying a high invoice if you are delivering a lot of value. Again, going back to this whole price to value discrepancy, you can charge high prices as long as you are delivering a good service. So you are the only one responsible for how much you make using a performance models. This is how we started at my agency. We were doing performance in the beginning and we were able to charge much more than we would have been just by selling a retainer. And as I said, it's easier to sell because there is no risk involved for the client. If you don't deliver, they won't pay you. So as I said, much easier to sell, but it's unpredictable and it is far from the money. So every single month, your invoice to each client will fluctuate based on the results of that month. In months like November, that are notorious for people buying a lot and paid ads doing very well, you will probably get paid a lot more than, for example, in July when people are on vacation. So it fluctuates a lot. And as I said, it's far away from the money. You have to wait at least 30 days to actually get results to then invoice the client, which could create some liquidity issues, but I still recommend starting with the performance model just because it is easier to sell and you can charge higher average invoices in the beginning. At my agency, we were doing performance deals until we hit 50K a month. Now we are transitioning to retainers because it is predictable and it is close to the money, which is more important to us right now. But for you as a beginning agency owner, up to 10K a month, you should only focus on performance because of these two aspects. And usually the standard performance deal is that you take 5% of the revenue that you are generating for your clients. So if you are running ads, you are generating, let's say 100K a month in revenue for them, you should take about 5K of that. It's not too much, not too little. And as I said, you are able to charge 5K a month from fairly small clients if you do your job correctly. So pricing done, put that in our pyramid. And lastly, the packaging of your offer. We have now decided who we are going to be targeting with our offer. We have decided what our service is, and we have decided how we are going to be pricing it. Lastly is the packaging, how we actually present this offer to potential clients. The first and the most important part of packaging your service is that it has to be as targeted as possible. You have to talk directly to the prospect's pain. You have to describe exactly what they are feeling for them to resonate with your offer. Let's say you are targeting roofing companies in the US who have too few high quality leads. One way of positioning your offer and the issue that you solve is that you just help them build a bigger business, which is a bad way to talk to the pain because that is not actually the pain that they are having, that is the result. But it's not like they're going day to day, like thinking, oh, I'm struggling with building a big business. Another angle that could be a bit better is saying, do you have too little revenue? Because that is kind of what they are struggling with. They are not bringing in enough revenue, but the best way in this situation to talk to the pain is to target the fact that they have too few high quality leads, because that is exactly the issue that they are struggling with. And that is exactly what they are concerned with on a day-to-day basis. So talk directly to the prospect's pain with your offer. Introduce some scarcity and urgency. Don't lie, never lie when making an offer. Don't make up imaginary offers or imaginary scarcity and urgency. And every single business owner has limited capacity. You can only take on so many clients with your current setup. So just be honest about that. Say that you have 6 more spots open for February, or that you're only able to onboard 2 new clients next week because you literally can't onboard more than 2 clients a week, or whatever that number is. You get the point. Just be honest about your capacity. And lastly is a guarantee. Guarantees are not something I like because they create a wrong dynamic where the close is based on you throwing in freebies and them not really trusting you. So by default, never offer guarantees. That is not something you should have, but you can throw in a guarantee if needed. So if they are on the edge, they're kind of like not 100% sold, but it is a client that you want to work with and they could become a big client in the future, throw in a guarantee, but not if you're not confident, and never introduce guarantees after 25K a month. After 25K a month, you should be so confident in your service that you should not need any guarantees. So as I said, the only situation in which you could throw in a guarantee is if you really want to close that client and if they are already on the fence. And the most important part here is just don't overcomplicate it. Don't make your offer too complex. Make it simple to understand, make it straightforward. The most important part of actually keeping clients and signing clients is having the right market with the right service. And if your results are good, you won't have an issue with actually signing clients. So trying to finesse them by using like fake scarcity or fake urgency or using bonuses is not the way to build a sustainable business. It should be built on strong fundamentals, and then you won't need any of these things. So that is the offer pyramid. Start by selecting a market, then select which service you are going to be offering that market, then decide on the pricing, and lastly on how you are going to be packaging your service. I hope this video was valuable. And if you are a digital agency owner stuck at 0 to 8K a month, I am opening up 3 spots to work with me personally, one-on-one, where I will guide you to implementing every single framework that I use to scale my own agency from 0 to 50K a month in 12 months. So if that sounds interesting, reach out to me through Instagram DMs. Let's talk about it.